All right. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate your attendance this morning. My apologies for not being here yesterday. I want to thank Olga for managing the store in the meantime. So that is very appreciated. I'm happy to. Thank you. It's good to see everybody this morning here in the Pacific Coast, right? Thank you for accepting our invitation to the last event of this academic year titled Digital Equity Initiatives at the California State University, San Bernardino. And today's presenters are Dr. Samuel Sudhakar and Mireya Popescu. Thank you for your valuable collaboration with these initiatives that aim to provide special support to member institutions as part of HED's mission to promote the integration of technology into education. This special event is part of the HED's Board of Directors summer meeting, and we are delighted to be at the Chancellor's Office of the California State University System in Long Beach, which, by the way, we want to thank for the hosting us and the support and technical support as well, and the breakfast was with it. So thank you for that. We also have more than 150 participants registered from more than 15 higher education institutions in Puerto Rico and the US. Also, we have participants from organizations and the HED's corporate partners like Campus Care and UPlanner. Thank you again for your presence here. Greetings to all, and we hope that this webinar will be of great benefit to everyone. Before we start, we want to share a few things. This presentation has closed captions. So again, we are attentive to those needs, and they will be in English. You have the functions available at your desktop to add those. If you want to interact with the presenters, if you will, we have a feature and we can channel your questions or comments. And of course, as always, keep your microphone on mute to avoid any interruptions. And you can also access the chat link and the certificate, if you will, of participation by scanning the QR code that you will see. There you go, you have that QR code visible. At the end of the webinar, you will receive an email with the link to complete a short survey that then will allow us to evaluate the webinar and also help us identify which HED's services and initiatives can support students and your feedback to promote those services. The service is anonymous, and we estimate that it will take 5 minutes for you to complete that. We invite you to spread the word and invite others to follow us on our social media networks and to register as well as participate in the events that we are coordinating for the next academic year 2024, which, by the way, I want to thank Antonio Belkis for being active in the social networks and, of course, keeping us appraised with a very active program for the year in terms of those activities. Remember, you just need to register at heads.org for those events. Also, we want to invite you to help us promote among your students and colleagues the access to the Peterson's Test Prep to find scholarships, practice tests, and ebooks to prepare for tests such as the PCAT, LSAT, GRE, MCAT, and DAT, among others. If you don't know the password, please send an email to info@heads.org or send a text to 787-616-3201 with the name of your institution. In addition, you can access the Peterson's Career Prep to search for jobs and internships, create your resume, and find career advice, among other services. It's important to highlight that the membership of HEADS afford this wealth of services to your students and your community. And as we always say, if you buy those separately, it will be a little more expensive, if you will. So after that public service announcement, we are ready to start our special event. But first, I would like to share a brief summary of the extensive experience and expertise of our guest speakers today. Let me start with Dr. Samuel Sudhakar, who serves as the President of Information Technology and CIO at the California State University, San Bernardino, where he has end-to-end accountability for strategic and tactical technology initiatives to propel efficiency, cost effectiveness, and the competitive edge for all campus information systems. He holds a bachelor's degree in electronics and communications engineering from the Bharatiya University in India, and MBA from St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia, and a PhD from the North Central University in Arizona. And he's a project management professional certified PMP. Our next presenter is Dr. Mihaela Popescu, a professor of digital media in the Department of Communication Studies and the faculty director of the Extended Reality for Learning Lab, XREAL, with Information Technology Services at the California State University, San Bernardino. She holds a PhD and a Master's of Arts in Communication from the University of Pennsylvania and a Master of Arts in Society and Politics from the Central European University in Vienna, Austria. Her research interests include media and communication policies, digital technologies, and their impact on society, privacy, and surveillance, as well as immersive media. Dr. Popescu has published numerous articles on these subjects in academic journals and contributed to several book chapters. Her co-author book, Privacy as a Right to Becoming, the Work of Self in the Age of Artificial Intelligence, will be published by the MIT Press in 2024. So thank you to our presenters, and please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Dr. Morales, and all the presidents and representatives gathered here from Puerto Rico and across the country. We want to warmly welcome you to California State University and Cal State San Bernardino. A couple of years ago, when I represented President Morales board meeting in Puerto Rico, I told you, Belkis, we need to bring the board meeting to California. And I went back to our president, and finally it happened. Wish you were on our campus. It's a beautiful campus in San Bernardino, but since it's far away from the airports, we decided this was going to happen in CSU at the Chancellor's office. We appreciate our colleagues at the Chancellor's office as well for their warm hospitality for these 2 days for the heads board meeting. Before we get started, Dr. Mihaela Popescu and I get started on this presentation. Since you are not on our campus, we want to give you a little bit of a tour of our campus by showing a video that lasts about 3 minutes. So if you would please indulge me in that.
At California State University, San Bernardino, we define the future. A future formed by thousands of meaningful moments. Moments as powerful as mastering a relentless challenge. As rewarding as giving it all you've got. And as thrilling as achieving a lifelong dream. Collectively, these moments have made Cal State San Bernardino what it is today. A trusted leader in higher education, powered by the momentum of our talented students, our world-class faculty, and the communities in which we live. CSUSB has been a model for transforming lives, a driving force and vigorous contributor to the education, economic prosperity, and sustainability of the Inland Empire and beyond. Our student body reflects the diverse, dynamic demographics of the region, with more than 80% the first in their families to attend college. Our collaborative partnerships in the community and innovative programming provide students with internships and hands-on learning opportunities that equip them with industry-specific skills, ready to make an immediate contribution in the workplace. Our students learn to reason, to lead, and as graduates, revolutionize their chosen fields and make a long-lasting impact in their communities. Our alumni are prepared to thrive in any sector, from media consulting to medicine, education to engineering, public health advocacy to poetry, and everything in between. Our extraordinary faculty think critically and act boldly, achieving excellence through high-impact research, creative activities, groundbreaking scholarship, and interdisciplinary and international collaborations. Since 1965, Cal State San Bernardino's students, faculty, and alumni have harnessed the power inherent in each passing moment to address challenges and implement positive changes in education, health, technology, science, policy, and the arts. Now, we are poised for an exciting new era of growth and evolution. This is our defining moment.
To invest in our students, to further eliminate barriers to success, expand educational opportunities, and enrich their academic experience.
To invest in our outstanding faculty and to attract and to retain new faculty to further enhance research, creativity, and scholarship.
Our moment to advance academic excellence, to energize and expand robust programs, and create new ways to address today's global challenges.
And to modernize facilities that enhance teaching and learning and create new environments conducive to student and faculty scholarly endeavors.
Join us and help define the future of a university that will continue to have an enormous influence on our world. It only takes a moment
To further discovery.
To conquer challenges.
To realize our dreams.
To define our future together.
Join us in an era of growth and transformation as we embark on a bold, historic $200 million campaign. Our defining moment.
Right. We thank you for the opportunity to present before you digital technology initiatives at Cal State San Bernardino. California State University San Bernardino is home to 20,000 students, a very, very diverse population. 85% of our students come from either San Bernardino or Riverside counties. We are proud to be our local regional university that serves our local population of a diverse student body and of faculty and staff. So our university is very, very student focused. And when you walk in the university, that sentiment is very powerful. Everybody talks about student success and being focused on our students. So when the pandemic struck, we realized that we needed to focus on equity. Because before the pandemic, we told our students, you come to our campus and we'll give you world-class technology. But we really didn't worry about or think about what our students faced when they left the university and went to their home. Neither did we really worry about our faculty and staff and whether or not they had the equipment at home or broadband connectivity in their homes. We said, as long as you're on our campus, we'll take care of you. But when you go home, you're on your own. The pandemic really brought that back to focus. And we realized not only our students, our faculty and staff, many of them didn't have access to good technology equipment, nor broadband connectivity in their homes. So immediately we started to focus on equity for our students and our faculty and our staff. We started loaning out laptops like many of your institutions did, and hotspots, hotspots are a stopgap measure, as you know. They are not equivalent to broadband equity. We worked with many of our broadband providers across our region in trying to help our students get broadband. In fact, we clouded our parking lots with broadband access. So many of our students actually came to our parking lots. Our parking lots were actually full during the pandemic. Even though they had hotspots and some students had access to broadband, they wanted to be in community. They were sitting in their cars and accessing our broadband and attending classes and interacting with their students and faculty. The next thing is technology training to our students, faculty, and staff. Many of them were used to face-to-face. They peripherally knew how to use technology, but to use technology to completely be full-time on Zoom and consume their classes was a new experience. We did all kinds of training programs for our students. And we have a campus in Palm Desert, which is about 70 miles from San Bernardino. We focused on our Palm Desert students as well. We launched chatbots. To date, our chatbots have answered 30,000 questions. These chatbots started out as individual chatbots answering questions about advising, financial aid, registration, admissions questions. Now we have built a super bot, and you can go to our website. It can answer any question that students and faculty and staff that might have. We moved thousands of forms and processes online. We did the online photo ID system. A lot of these initiatives were in the pipeline in our technology plan, but the pandemic helped us accelerate them and bring them. And we realized we can do a lot more than we planned, actually. The pandemic has taught us that we have a lot more capacity and innovation than we normally would. We embarked on a very ambitious strategic plan, 23 to 28, which anchors on 3 goals: empower, transform, and innovate. We launched tons of programs. What we found after the pandemic is, as you have all realized, that our students are different. Our students wanted to be met at the point of their need. They no longer wanted to come to campus 5 days a week. They wanted to pursue education on their own terms. We found that our demand for online courses and hybrid courses went through the roof, but our courses were not designed for sound pedagogical online delivery. Faculty put together courses during the pandemic, and students were failing in those courses. So we launched a very robust faculty development program under the leadership of Dr. Brad Owen, our Associate VP for Faculty Development, and delivered tons of courses and redesigned all of our courses to be pedagogically sound so the learners can be successful. We equipped 300 classrooms with what we call next generation smart classrooms at both the San Bernardino and Palm Desert campuses. So students can take their courses from home or from the Palm Desert campus or from the classroom. We did training for our faculty on the pedagogical use of the next generation classrooms as well. Many times technology in itself does not solve the issue. The training, the pedagogical training for faculty is a very important piece. Under the Transform initiative, we aspire to meet students where they will be successful. We did digital transformation of all the processes. If the students didn't want to be on campus, we delivered all those services online. The X-Real Lab, the high performance computing, and then the scenic initiatives are 3 initiatives that we rolled out under the Transform initiative. You're going to be hearing about the X-Real Lab today from Dr. Mihaela Popescu. The X-Real Lab is an interdisciplinary technology innovation hub that brings together students, faculty, and staff to imagine and design immersive learning experiences with 3D modeling and printing, augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality, motion capture, and machine learning technologies. High performance computing through the CSUSB High Performance Computing Initiative. Our students, faculty, and staff can use HPC resources at supercomputing centers in collaboration with the Pacific Research Platform. This is the personalized student experience chatbot that we have launched. This is what we call an intrusive chatbot, which monitors the student's success at 12 or 14 different levels, and it prompts them to do the things that they are supposed to do, whether they need to submit their assignments or to register for classes, pay for classes. It prompts them. It's a intrusive. It's not a passive chatbot, but an active chatbot. Based on the student, it prompts them different prompts to get their work done. And this has proven very successful for us. So I'll turn it over now to Dr. Popescu to talk about the X-Real Lab, which has brought faculty, staff, and students together to really transform the lives of our students in every aspect of their academic experience at Cal State San Bernardino. It cuts across students with different learning styles and different learning abilities, as well as students with disabilities. So we are looking at the student body from a 360 angle, and we want to cater to every level of student. And this has created a great excitement and buzz at Cal State San Bernardino. Dr. Popescu.
Thank you so much, Sam. It is a great pleasure and an honor to be here. So in the next 20 minutes or so, I want to take you on a tour of the lab, but I would like to do it a little bit differently. So I'm going to provide you with the history and the context, but I would like to let our students and faculty tell the story. So you will have quite a number of video clips to watch. They are very short, but they capture really some of the different perspectives and different interests that our students have in the lab. So the lab started in 2019 with generous support from our president, Dr. Tomas Morales, and from Dr. Sam Sudhakar. And like many other CSU campuses, in the beginning, it was about bringing some new technologies on campus, such as VR headsets, and seeing what people can do with them. But in March 2020, the pandemic happened. So what we had to do at the time was to really reimagine, why do we have these technologies around and how can we use them for good, so that all the things that people were missing, community, a way of feeling included, a way of equally participating in the learning experience. So how can we actually recreate those things using these technologies? So we started then the lab, we started to think about this lab a little bit differently. And we said, okay, it is, yes, about exploring with technologies, but we want to make it about teaching. And we also want to make it about building links to communities and building pipelines to the industry for our students. And we want all of this to be done and initiated by the students with support from staff and faculty. So because of that, the lab is organized as follows. We have a small number of core staff. There are 5 of us, 3 programmers, myself, and the director of operation, which is James Trotter. Every year we invite between 7 and 14 faculty to spend a year in our lab. They are faculty fellows, and they bring their own ideas and their own projects and their own students many times. And they provide mentorship for the students who are already in the lab. And we hire student assistants, or we have interns who are working in the lab, who provide an equal voice to everything we are doing. And in fact, they are the ones that are prompting us to rethink how we teach, to rethink how we research, because they bring their ideas and their enthusiasm and their know-how to the lab and drive everything we are doing. Next slide, please. Sam, could you advance the slide? Thank you. So what I want to show you in the following are not only different technologies that we use in the lab, but also different ways of thinking how these technologies can contribute to the public good. So let's start with 3D modeling. So what happened during the pandemic is that all of a sudden, a connection that was incredibly important to our students, namely turning the space of the campus into places that they can call home, that connection disappeared. So how can we bring back that connection using these technologies? And one way to do it was to completely reconstruct the campus in 3D, thus having our students participate in events and in lessons in these virtual spaces. So Sam, if you could please play the one on top, you will see how that is done.
Hey everybody, I'm Patrick from ATI, and I'm interviewing JC here, who's going to tell us a little bit about what he's doing here in the X-Reel department. JC, what are you working on right now?
So I'm working on recreating the theater at the Palm Desert campus in the 3D space. People are going to be able to go in there and just kind of like go around and see what it would be like to be there in person. As you can see here, we have reference images one of the lobby and one of the theater. For this particular project, it's just going to be those two areas. So you can see here that I started doing it and recreating it, and we're already kind of a ways in. You can see the lobby has the same type of material and texture. It's for virtual events, and people who attend these types of events can actually just go in there and see whatever it is that they're going to perform and stuff. We've already done this for the SMSU expansion, and that was part of the Black History Month that we were doing an event.
Gotcha. So basically this is going to be a very accessible way to experience these events because you can just load it up and it's like you're actually there.
Correct. The other one was done through Mozilla Hubs, which is one of the more accessible platforms that you can do something on. You can connect via computer, phone, VR headset, whatever you want.
Gotcha. All right, well, as you can see, we're still doing good stuff over here at ATI to help educate in every way we can possible, in every accessible way possible. And JC, thank you for telling us about what you're doing here.
As always.
So this initiative started during the pandemic, but it turned out that recreating the campus virtually had many other benefits, and among them, the possibility of having students appropriate these spaces and repurpose them for cultural events, such as the Hispanic Month. And Sam, if you could play the second video. So you saw J.C. Mariscal building this theater and this space, which is the student center. Well, once you have that, you can actually use it in many different ways. And Sam mentioned the Palm Desert campus. So our university has a campus in San Bernardino and one in Palm Desert. And one of our problems was that the students in Palm Desert wanted to feel more included in what we were doing at San Bernardino. So this was a way for them to actually experience something together in these virtual spaces that our student created. If you could advance the slide, Sam. Okay. Another way in which we used virtual and augmented reality technologies was to, on the one hand, bring what is far away and distant in time to bring it in the present, and another way to actually help our students express themselves in their art. So what you see here are two different things. So as you probably know, augmented reality is this technology that superimposes layers of information onto the physical world so that you can put either new objects or new images or additional information on the screen and actually look at the world through the screen and see it juxtaposed that way. So what you see on the left is a project that one of our students did, in which he was trying to reimagine the history of San Bernardino by adding all of these ancient animals in the fountains. So this is a way to connect the past with the present by means of this technology. What you see on the right is another student project. So the student, this is an event that we have in information technology services in which we were showing the campus members, the technologies we had available. But the student wanted to customize this event a bit and to show his pride in the fact that he was part of a particular college. And then other students wanted to show their college belonging. So they created these mascots. Our mascot is the coyote, Cody the coyote. And they actually customized the mascot in AR. The picture you see on the bottom is actually a projection of this. So it's the mascot doesn't really exist in the physical space, but if you look at it through your iPhone, you see it right there, right? So they created all these personified codes that belong to each college. And these mascots became incredibly popular on campus to the point that almost every week we have requests to 3D print these mascots and give them to people. Another, could you please move forwards, Sam? Another way in which we use these technologies, and I don't know if you are noticing, but each slide is devoted to one technology, but also to one form in which this particular technology was used to create community, belonging, inclusion, and so on. So as probably all of you know, each campus has models. For example, what you see here is a crystalline structure of I forgot which crystal, but they have models that most of them are made in wood, in the medium of wood, and they are extremely expensive, and if they break, they can't be replaced easily. So of course, a much easier way to do it is to 3D model them and 3D print them, and then every student can have one such model to take it home and explore. But it turns out that 3D printing is also incredibly important for our students with various learning abilities, and for our students who are not able to see, because being able to perceive an object in a different medium. So instead of listening about it, to be able to touch it and to feel it, in a material way, makes a huge difference to our students who are not able to see anything. So if you could play the second video, the video on the bottom, Sam.
Animation. CSUSB logo appears. California State University, San Bernardino, Academic Technologies and Innovation.
Well, my name is Mirna Campos. I am a fourth-year psychology major, and I absolutely love to read anything and everything, including things that have to do with either psychology, IT, mystery, you name it. We all started this project just as something that happened without really expecting, just sudden. I remember I came in here one day and we started discussing tactile maps. We were discussing how there are so many buildings and all kinds of different pathways and places to go on this campus, and we were trying to come up with what would be something good tactilely for someone who is completely blind or just visually impaired to use to navigate throughout the campus. And then somehow we started speaking about how there are so many diagrams, and 3D printing came up in the conversation. And I remember you said that you had a complete fascination toward working with such models. And well, weekly you began introducing me to new models, and I completely just love them. We thought about biology, chemistry, math, even psychology, just because there's so many things involved, for example, with the brain, that a 3D printed model would be fantastic to use. For me, for example, I was going through a cognitive psychology course this semester, and there was terminology such as axons or just neuron overall. And I had been in psychology classes, of course, because they pertain to my major throughout all of my time here. And I had always been described such a neuron, but I never understood what it fully meant. Like, I understood the concept of it, but I didn't know what it actually might look like. And just seeing the model itself gave me some kind of an understanding of what actually goes on in the neuron. So it has the little QR code, which leads to a website, which then has information, which is beneficial to the user. So for me, I did get to feel or kind of imagine what a neuron may look like. Like I said, it looks like a shrimp, like a bell pepper. I kind of get to know what I actually am studying, not just like the concepts of what is going on. And I also got, more perspective into different images. I don't just have to imagine like, I wonder what it looks like. I wonder what its shape may be, what it may consist of. So with this, I definitely have a much more broader understanding of what is behind these images.
Assistive Technology Center. Stop by PL 1109D or call 909-537-3472.
So as you can see, beyond everything else that can be done with 3D printing, this technology enables students to experience the world in a different way. And it makes a huge deal of difference for the students who cannot experience what other students are experiencing. So this is, how a technology can solve a real pedagogical problem. Moving on.
animation.
Another medium that we employed in the lab is 360-degree media. So I don't know if any of you have seen any 360-degree photos or 360-degree videos. So the idea there is that you take a photo, but the photo is not flat. By keeping your iPhone in front of you or your iPad, you can actually look around and see everything that the photographer saw. So essentially it places you in the middle of a site or in the middle of the environment, and you can look around and have this freedom of the first person perspective. But it turns out that these technologies are incredibly useful in drawing attention to social issues, because when people can see how an environment really looks like and can adopt this perspective of somebody who belongs to the community and who lives there, then all of a sudden you understand why it's important to preserve an environment, why it's important to hear from the people who belong to that community and so on. So what you see here are, I mean, again, this is a flat medium, so you don't get to really experience what it feels like for somebody who's looking through the iPhone to looking around. But what you see here are several student-initiated projects that turned out to be quite incredible. So in one of these projects, we had a student from Gaza who was upset that everything he learned about Gaza through American media was all about death and destruction. And he wanted to show his class another view of Gaza, you know, a lot more artistic, how people go from day to day, what it means to actually produce, you know, these incredible objects of art. So we sent 2 360-degree cameras to Gaza. One of it got lost in Turkey, and we recovered it just about when the earthquake happened. So we actually had somebody on site to document all the scenes of displacement and destruction in this earthquake. So all of a sudden we realized, oh my goodness, immersive journalism can really teach our students something about what it means to be in a crisis situation, what it means to belong to a place and not be able to access it. So all these things that we talk about, but it's not very easy to experience them, this technology enabled us to provide for our students. Other things that I'm not showing here, other projects that have been enormously successful, was a way of taking students somewhere where they normally wouldn't go. So for example, many of our students in San Bernardino haven't had an opportunity to see the Chicano Park in San Diego. That's, you know, a national treasure. You can look at all those incredible murals and really appreciate the artistry and the history of it. But many of our students don't have money to travel to San Diego. So we had a faculty member who actually did a whole documentary about the Chicano Park in 360. And the students were incredibly touched and impressed by everything they were able to see. Sam, if we could move on. And this brings us to virtual reality. So unlike augmented reality, which can be experienced in a mobile way, you know, just by having a mobile device, virtual reality can be experienced best with a head-mounted headset. And this is important because this brings a sense of presence and immersion that is not possible otherwise. During the pandemic, it also brought us the solution to a pedagogical problem that we simply didn't know how to solve. So the problem was the following: in our College of Education, where teacher candidates are being trained, when they are trained to teach K-12 students who have various learning or different learning abilities, space is very important. So how you arrange the classroom for optimal learning is incredibly important, but they weren't able to access any classrooms. So what do you do when you are trying to explain to them, okay, it's important to arrange the classroom this way, but you are at home and they are at home, so there is no common space to share. So what you're going to see here is a recording from an actual classroom in which we enabled the professor and the students to access a virtual environment that we created on Mozilla Hubs, where they were able to construct their own classrooms. So with minimal training, they built a classroom and they were inhabiting that classroom together at the same time and actually using 3D sound to experience what it means to be in front of the classroom, in the back of the classroom, and so on. So Sam, if you could play the clip, please.
Now, if you can listen to me now, is it much easier to hear me? Yeah. So when the kids have to strain to hear you at all, it's going to be a problem for them. They're not going to want to pay attention as much because it's too effortful. And then what they end up doing is messing with each other. Or they miss something because the effort overrides the desire to hear what you have to say. So keep that in mind when you set up your classrooms, that you're going to want them to be at least as close as you need to be to hear without straining. If you have to strain to hear something, it's so hard to stay focused. And for a lot of our kids, they have a focus issue anyway. So you really want to make sure that this is one of the biggest bonuses of doing a class like this, I think, is that, like, I'll come back here now and stand, and Rebecca, why don't you go up in front and start, like, talk like you're going to teach. Hello? So are any of you guys straining right now when she talks?
Yeah, I can't.
See, so this is how we use the affordances of this medium and the ability of 3D sound to create a sense of distance to be able to conduct these classes and to be able to serve the K-12 students that need to be served the most, right? Because as a teacher candidate, you have to be able to conduct an inclusive classroom. And if you don't know how to do that, and if you have no opportunity to feel like you are in the same space with them, you cannot serve them well. So I have two more technologies to show you, and I want to also give some time for questions. So here's something that we are doing with motion capture technology. If you saw Shrek or Avatar, you already know what motion capture is. So it's a way of capturing motion and transferring it on an animated character or a virtually built character, which then moves and behaves as if it were real. So on our campus, we use motion capture in two different ways. One in kinesiology to study motion, and that is also very useful in biology. But an interesting use that we discovered during the pandemic was that this technology can enable theater students to actually perform, even if they are away, to imagine characters, to imagine how they would place those characters, even if they cannot actually do that in person or with other students. And what you're going to see is one of our faculty members, Professor Christy Papaye from theater, explaining what she was trying to do and how these technologies were able to help her students appropriate their history and learn something about being leaders in an industry that increasingly looks for very advanced skill sets. So if you could please play that, Sam.
Hi, my name is Christy Papaye, and I am an assistant professor of theater in the Department of Theater Arts, and I am also a returning fellow in the X-Real or Extended Realities for Learning lab here at Cal State San Bernardino. My project is motion capture and the future of education, and this is a lab that we have been developing for the last 2 years. And we are now in phase 3 of that project. Phase 1 was about creating a pilot project called the Inaugural Poets, in which we used motion capture to explore and animate each of the 6 inaugural poems. Phase 2 has included purchasing equipment to establish a motion capture lab here on campus. And we are proud now to say that as of spring 2023, we have designed and are implementing the first curriculum in motion capture performance here on our campus. in which theater students are able to train in motion capture. Phase 3 of the project involves further developing that curriculum to include performance capture. I think curricularly and pedagogically, we are one of the first classes on this in the CSU system. And so the pedagogy that we are using, as well as the curriculum that we're implementing in the classroom, in and of itself presents new knowledge for the field, right, of performance. So we are actively creating a course that is unique and will provide other educators with ways to access and to share this kind of knowledge with their students. We're also creating knowledge and finding knowledge, right, about how to use the technology, and in particular, how that technology can be improved. Many of the environment systems, as well as the avatar systems, so the systems that we use to create environments, that we use to create humanoid characters, are also in developmental stages. And because we work so closely with these systems, we are constantly discovering new ways to use the system, as well as ways in which these systems might be improved. Also, with our multidisciplinary non-performance applications, much of that knowledge is new knowledge, right? So we are learning to apply and use this technology in ways that other folks aren't doing and that are unique to the X-Real Lab here at Cal State San Bernardino.
Thank you. And one more thing I want to show you before we open it up for questions. So if you could advance, Sam. Okay, so this is where I show you two demos. Again, what is interesting about the lab is that it's completely multidisciplinary. Our students come from lots of disciplines. Our faculty are from every college. And what it means is that they are constantly thinking about new ways of solving particular problems. And here are two problems that we are trying to solve. These are prototypes, so they are not working perfectly yet. So on the left-hand side, what you see is a prototype for kinesiologists. So again, a problem that we had during the pandemic was that many of our students want to pursue certificates of training to become physiologists, but that can only happen if you are in a lab with an actual human being who's going to show you how to properly take measurements. But if you can't access the lab, then you have no way of actually getting that certificate. So one way in which we thought of addressing that problem, you know, if we close the lab again in the future, is to actually create virtual learning agents who are able to talk to our students and obey, you know, the command that you are giving them, like move or take off your hat or take off your shoes. So let's play the left-hand side video for a little demo.
How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm good. Can you take off your shoes and hat?
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that.
Can you speak Chinese?
I guess you don't believe I can speak Chinese. Let's try it.
你叫什么名字？
我叫刘彤。
Can you speak Spanish?
I can speak Spanish.
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien, ¿y usted?
¿Eres un estudiante?
Sí, soy un estudiante y trabajo en X-Real.
So as you can see here, there are several technologies that are brought to bear on this project. On the one hand, you have virtual reality. On the other hand, you have motion capture, which is used to, I mean, it's not working very well right now, but it will very soon. So it's used to build a character. And on the other hand, you have machine learning. That was done with Google Dialogflow, but of course now we have ChatGPT. So one very recent prototype that we were thinking about was how can we use ChatGPT to actually help our students who are taking online classes. And one problem they have is because they work during the day and they complete these, assignments at night, they don't actually have a professor to answer their questions right away. And that's a problem because many students lose interest or feel left behind if they can't actually get an answer to, for example, a question such as, where is the link for the test? Or, what happens if I can't complete this assignment tonight? So we thought of creating a virtual learning assistant who is able to walk them through the syllabus or answer questions about a class. And this is a very, very early prototype. So Sam, if you can play it, please.
What are the lower division classes in biology?
The lower division classes in biology are Bio 2010, Principles of Biology I, and Bio 2020, Principles of Biology II.
What are the lecture times for the Biology 3100?
The lecture time for Biology 3100 is Monday to Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. in PS 204.
What are the learning objectives for this class?
The learning objectives for this class are to describe concepts and ideas that help you think critically about your digital identity and digital culture.
So in closing,
How are you?
Whoops. Next
Good,
slide,
and you?
please. So in closing the presentation, just to give you some data between spring 2020, when we started the full operations, and last semester, we impacted about 9,000 students. We worked with these technologies in 50 course sections. Our faculty fellows raised 200,000 in grant support, and they have submitted grants totaling 1 million, fingers crossed. We've employed 17 undergraduate students. We helped 6 graduate fellows complete their MFA or their thesis for their master's projects. And we hope to help a lot more students, and we are really excited about the future of the lab and its possibilities. And I want to acknowledge the generous support of our president. Without his support, we would have never been able to do that, but also the support of the students who are funding our work through internal grants that come from student money. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm going to stop here if there are any questions.
Well, now it's time for questions. If you, the ones virtually, can use the chat and we can read the questions or comments to the speakers, Sam here or Mihaila, thank you, here. So anyone or in the,
I have one.
Yes, of course.
Maybe you mentioned this and I missed it, but do you have an estimate of the cost this whole effort you guys incurred?
Oh, in the X-Real lab, yeah, we're a very low budget. We manage with about $150,000 a year.
Okay.
I have a question. I'm interested in the on your student ecosystem. I'm from Cal State Long Beach. Like, how do you manage to have a pretty much like a individualized plan for each student? Is that something that I know I saw EAB in there, right? Is it something that EAB triggers, or is it something that the student, based on their class standing, like they're first year students, and therefore these are all the things that they should hit, like their target goals? How does that work? I'm just interested.
So we gather information from different sources, from our degree audit program, from EAB. So that's why you have all these platforms on the left-hand side. We have a single pane interface that integrates all of these platforms together and gives advisors and faculty and the chatbot a single pane interface about the student, about all their different aspects, their financial aspects, their academic aspects, everything. So we built that interface. No one system, as you know, provides the 360-degree view of the student. So we take information from different systems and integrate it into one system.
Is this like the chicklets that are on each, like on single, the different chicklets, like the Beach Connect, I mean, we call it Beach Connect, which will be EAB, and the academic requirements report. So that's what
They're all
it is.
in one single page.
Got it. Okay, got it.
You can click on it and go, if you want to know more about a particular aspect, you can click on it and it goes further
To
into
that
the
one-
system.
Yeah, to that one
And
app.
it's like the football, when they do the statistics for the player, has the name of the player and their statistics. It gives that kind of a single pane interface for the student.
All right, thank you.
We have a question in the chat from Milagros Varas from Inter-American University Metropolitan Campus. Hi, Milagros. And the question is, I'm wondering what the two rulings from the Supreme Court in the past 2 days will do to the inclusiveness of all universities. I don't know if something to do with this topic, but if someone from our board want to approach this. Thank you. Yeah, that was a kind of a general topic for this, since we have all of our board members here, probably some of you have some comments on this. Also, Milagros said, great presentation, thanks as always to guests. Thank you, Milagros. We're still figuring out the comments for your question.
Do we have an answer to that question?
Anyway,
I think we are still.
yeah,
it's just processing.
Processing
Processing the information.
What happened, because, it's two in a row, right?
yeah.
Yesterday and today.
They're on a roll. What's next?
Yeah, of course, the California State University system and ACU and other organizations have issued strong words of condemnation for.
Yeah. Is that answer your question, Milagros?
Just as chat.
What technology? And then we also have, she said no, but we promise by the next event, we will have an answer for that. And also Romel Hidalgo from Fullerton, he's remotely connected. He said, what technology are you using for the intrusive chat bot?
Yeah, so it's Google Dialogflow, and we use the push notification from our mobile platform.
And I'm not sure if that question also applies to the last prototypes we show you. For that, we are using for now ChatGPT, but we have a professor who's working on building one of these large language models that will belong to the university, and we are in the process of training that.
Thank you, Romel, for your question, and thank you, Sam and Mihaila, for your answer. Any other questions? If we still have time, especially when it was scheduled until 10:45 Pacific time. So you still have time to make questions to our experts here on these amazing topics. And we truly appreciate the comments that they are saying. Thank you for the presentation. And also Alfredo Calderon, who is one of our former collaborators of HEDS and still collaborating with us through Internet Society. And he said that what San Bernardino is doing is impressive. Thank you for sharing. So thank you, Alfredo. And also for sharing the information about the opportunities with ICANN and the NASIF School 2024. Also, he said the super chat bot is an interesting application of AA and machine learning. It will be great to have a webinar with more details. Thank you for the recommendation. We will definitely take note of that and coordinate this for probably next semester. Any other questions from also the in-persons attendees to the board?
So I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you so much for presenting this. I know that when AI and ChatGPT was coming out, everyone in academia was like panicked about plagiarism and how far students will be able to go with AI. But I think you all put a very good spin to it, especially helping students with other disabilities or students that are not able to, get all of the resources within the classroom. So thank you so much for it. It's awesome what you all are doing.
Yeah. When I see the impact, I'm sorry. When I see the impact that you can share, I feel that this is something that is very much in the hands of the students to pass. I mean, to go through it, but also pass on. It's very interesting how you get students involved so that this keeps evolving as the technologies come about, because obviously, and we were talking yesterday about how education is before and after, I mean, and especially distance education, how it's before and after the pandemic, because it brought out a lot of innovation in a way, but also open your eyes to what is possible. So what you thought was impossible to teach through distance learning is now pretty possible. Also, and we had a conversation about how do we use these funds that sometimes come to our laps at some point. I mean, it surprised us in a way how we get these funds for cares, and how do we use it in a way that it becomes something that can become, can continue after the funds are not necessarily there. So we have to be very, we as an organization heads, we are sometimes ahead in what everybody else is seeing, because we're dealing with Hispanics, we're providing educational services through technology in different ways, and this, and hybrid education, that everybody makes a different translation on what that is. Sometimes it's on us to keep figuring it out and making it available to us, not only as colleagues, but as making that impact even broader, and taking it even to people who are not necessarily in the United States right now, but are a part of the heritage of our own students, because we're Hispanic serving institutions, most of us. So I just wanted to say that this life, it provides such a good example of what you can do with not necessarily, you have this money, you need to make it broader so that it makes an impact, and make it in a way that students can continue to provide services and education and peer education to the real needs of the other students, because we cannot see, we cannot be educating for the average student. There is not such a thing as an average student, because the variance is so much, diversity is so big. So it's on us, and when I say on us, is on the people not only sitting in this board, but also in our own universities, to make it visible. This is what we can do. This is just an example, but it's also something that broadens and we have all these people that maybe that may be having grants and they just finding ways to spend the money when you can really make it like plant the seed so that that money really it comes to a good end, so that, I mean, it keeps coming in with the students getting involved, and not only undergraduate students, research students from the master's degrees. That's what this is all for. And we get these Hispanic serving grants, and we want to make it, I mean, not only for the 2 or 3 that are doing them, but making it possible and available for many others. So thanks.
We have Julie and then.
Go ahead.
No, you lady first.
I just want to thank Sam for the presentation. Sam, that was really wonderful, and it certainly has me thinking in different directions. But I really, when you were focusing on equity, and that's what we focus on, it resonated because when you said, what do the students face when they go home? We don't know, do we? We just don't know. And all students face different things, and there's the challenge. And you said, as long as you stay on campus, we can take care of you. But then it's when they're off campus, and there's that disconnect. And I was just very impressed with how you presented that, because it's so true. And I think that's what we have to continue to think about. They're not always, just as our children are not always under our home, meaning the school, when they're somewhere else. That's the challenge. So I just wanted to, that resonated with me, but thank you so much for allowing us to sit in on this.
Question for you. So, you know, I used to work in academic affairs, now I'm in student affairs. Has there been any kind of like pushback from faculty and staff, considering that, you know, this could potentially, you know, lead and revolutionize teaching, especially like for tenure track faculty or full-time academic advisors? Anything that you see in your area that's been a challenge? I know that you mentioned that, you know, you bring in faculty for about a year. Any questions or concerns about teaching and, you know, replacement? I'm just curious.
Well, I'll
Thank
let
you for
Dr. Popescu answer.
Thank you for the question. So no, actually, what happens is that, I mean, in the beginning, faculty are reluctant, right? So Sam mentioned that we have a budget of about 100 something per year. And most of the budget goes to hiring the students. So it's not us buying the equipment. It's about hiring the students and also offering faculty a course reassignment, a course release, so they can spend a year with our lab. So in the beginning, that was the primary incentive, the fact that they can get a course release. And then in exchange, we said, okay, just sit in on our meetings and just, you know, dream. You don't have to do anything if you don't feel so inclined, but just dream and, you know, imagine how you could be teaching your students with these technologies. That was extremely helpful, because then once they had that freedom to reimagine what can be done in the face of really important pedagogical problems that we couldn't solve otherwise, they became the ambassadors for the other faculty members. So whereas in the beginning, so that was in 2020, we had 2 free faculty. They were worried, well, am I going to have time to do this? Why should I reinvent my whole teaching? Now we actually have to, you know, we don't have enough money to support the faculty who want to teach with us, because they discovered that these technologies are really very resonant with the students, and the students themselves are asking to have these technologies incorporated in the classrooms. So because the faculty are the ambassadors, we really don't have a problem convincing them to work with us.
Thank you.
I think Chairman, I think we have accomplished this special event very successfully. Thank you, Sam, for helping us coordinating this effort and for being part of this amazing presentation. Thank you, Michaela, for your presentation, and also for sharing your expertise with us. We are very delighted to have you. It's a shame that you couldn't join us in person, but you work perfectly remotely, so thank you so much. Any other question? Just 1 minute left. No, it's fine. Our chairman, we can.
Sure. Well, again, thank you for bringing this topic to the attention of the board and also the heads membership. This is part of what we started, if you will, back in 2018. We wanted to be attentive to what the membership of heads is doing. Membership also asked, we want to learn from our own members in terms of knowing what they are doing and how we can either partner, team up, or replicate where applicable. So this is very good. Thank you for that. Let's give them a hand, please. So next in our agenda, we have Dr. Carlos Vargas Aburto, who is our secretary. Oh, we're going to have a break. Okay, so the next item will be the collaboration opportunities and institutional announcements. But before that, we will have a short break about 8 minutes.
Come back in a different Zoom.
Yeah, it's gonna be a different Zoom. The ones who join us here from other institutions and from our member institution, thank you again for being able to participate in all the webinars we have held during this academic year. Stay tuned, either in the website on next events or in our social media. Follow us so you know what we are planning already for next academic year and next semester. And please don't remember to click on the link to request your certificate. Please put your name and please put your email correctly so you can receive the certificate. And please help us evaluating these events by clicking on the link to the survey or to the electronic evaluation in SurveyMonkey to help us with your recommendations and your feedback, since this is very important for us. Until next time, enjoy the week. The weekend is a long weekend, 4th of July weekend. Enjoy the summer, and please don't forget about us. Please see you in the next event. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a long weekend. Beautiful weekend. Bye, Mayela. I'm so sorry. Your name is...
Not a problem. Thank you so much. And thank you again for having me. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Take care. And the ones for the board, attending the board, please click on the last link. Zoom link is a different link. So we can resume in 15 minutes, right?
Turn off the recording.
Yeah, let me say thank you.
You're recording all of that conversation.
No hot mics, no hot mics.
Yeah, they